Hello, hello. How you guys doing? What's up, Losh? Nice of you to join. Hey, Benjamin. Good job being here on a Sunday. Hey, Wing Chun. How's it going? What's up, Nikki? Glad you could join. I'm going to be packing my bags while I read. Yeah, why not? I'm packing my bags with my feet. What's up, Sunnyside? How are you doing? Now, you guys got the memo. We're starting today. You gotta get me sloshed. All right. Let's just start, okay? With some Wordle. It's a semi-long chapter today. It's cheaper to get drunk before get on the plane. Who buys drinks on planes? How much do they cost? Must be like an arm and a leg. All right. Give me 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. All right. That's not the window I want. I want this window. Okay. All right. Let's blow through this quick. Computer's very slow today. Aha. M-U. T. M. Tram. U. Ultra. Umrat. R. Why is the U there? Okay. R. U. M. Durham. Turum. Trum. Umrut. Ultra. 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 Ultru. Ultru. Maybe there's a Y. Ultry. Sultry. No, no T. R. T. What? R. U. R. T. Mert. T something. Thrum. Alright. We got this. Use your carry-on liquid limit for liquor? Ah. Someone's an alcoholic. All right. What's this? Oh no. Oh, is the camera gonna do that thing where it keeps disconnecting? I hope not. Oh fuck. Port, Pursuit, Progressive, Succession, Happiness Departed, Flash, Liberty, Wire, Euphoria, Remaining, Entourage, Insecure, Bulletin, Life, Report. Port and Report. Flash, Flash Memory, Remaining, Departed, Report. Liberty, Happiness, The Pursuit. What else? Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness. Is this? I hope it's not a red herring. Is it too obvious? Okay. Hmm. Succession, Departed, Entourage. A report, a bulletin, a wire, and a flash, I think. All right. Remaining, Succession, Progressive, Port, Euphoria. What? Succession, Progressive, Succession, Progressive. Remaining, Port, Euphoria. Wait. I don't know. Entourage. Your entourage departs when you depart from the world. Your sons succeed you progressively. Entourage. Insecure. Euphoria. Euphoria is a movie. Oh, The Departed. Entourage and Succession is a TV show. Let's try that. One away. Insecure. It doesn't sound like a movie. Port. Maybe. Progressive. Maybe. Entourage is a movie, right? Well, it's The Departed, not just Departed. Ah, how about this? Oh no! Oh no. Maybe it's not movies? Maybe it's not movies. Remaining? That doesn't sound like a movie. Port. That sounds like a movie. Succession. Maybe it's not movies. Fuck! Insecure. Oh god. Remaining? Insecure? Remaining? Insecure. Progressive. Departed. Euphoria. Oh! HBO shows. Oh, they're not movies. They're shows. Okay. I didn't know. Insecure was one. Does not sound like a show. What left might mean? Wait, hold on. Left. Departed, port, progressive, and remaining. Okay. I mean, that's not too bad. All right. Fooled me with that departed. Movie. Show. Oh, TV. Watch. Stream. Uh, film. Category. A show is like a movie except it ends badly. Not all shows. Port. Show. Watch. How about reveal? How about hide? Animal. Show. Showing. Showing. Theater. Hollywood. Finale. Review. Movie reviews. Critic. Rating. Movie goer. Is that a... It is a word. Play. Smell. Watch. Premiere. Matinee. Ticket. Booth. Okay, maybe not. Show, tell. Oh, show and tell. Telling. Speak. Talk. Converse. Conversation. Conversation. Poetry. Popcorn. Communicate. Speak, converse, communicate, tell. Tell, say. Say what you want to say. Express. Say, speak, shout. Scream, exclaim, reply. Teller. Relay. Teacher. Oh, teach. Announce. Oration. Snitch. Snitch. Tell. Tell. Reveal. How about testimony. Testify. No, not testify. Say, tell, do. Do. Inform. Did. Done. Action. Take action. Do. Perform. Execute. Exact. Be. Like, it do be like that. Does. Instruct. Accomplish. Do. Try. Do or do not. There is no try. Did. Finish. Yes. No. Yeah. Absolutely. Confirm. Deny. Yeah is higher than yes. Yeah. Yar. Har. Yar. Affirm. All right. Exactly. Really? Real. For reals? Real? Okay. Yes. For reals? Okay. Close. What? Where? When? Why? How? Really? Totally. Very. Seriously? Are you serious? Actually. Oh, okay. Oh, we got there. It's pretty fast. Not bad. Oh, I went down the wrong track with these things down here. Show, tell, talk, speak. Oops. No. Alright. Good job, guys. Nice work. Alright. We do have a snack today. Not Japanese, but it's freaking rice crackers. Homemade. Not by me. Alright. Need to take a piece that I can put in my mouth. Ooh. Like rice crackers has like what, melon seeds and these kind of berries. You see? Looks pretty Japanese. All right. Hmm. 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 Looks like a Rice Krispie treat. Oh yeah. Pretty good. Hmm. It's like a 9 out of 10 crunch. It's quite crunchy. Destroying the roof of my mouth though. Alright. It's a 9 out of 10. It's pretty good. I like Rice Krispies. Do you guys eat Captain Crunch cereal? That's the one that destroys the roof of your mouth, right? Oh my god, I had that when I was younger. It's just, it's like eating razor blades. Just scratches up the roof of your mouth. It never gets soggy. It does get soggy. But it's pretty hard. I don't know why they do that. So I switched to Honey Bunches of Oats. You know, Raisin Bran is pretty good too. What's the best cereal? Okay, I think Honey Bunches of Oats is really good. I like the almond one. Yeah, I like these. They're so good. But you know what? They're too good. It's like pretty sugary. So I switched to Raisin Bran. Yeah. So the bran is not that sweet, okay, but there are some freaking raisins in it, and it adds a little bit of sugar. and it's pretty good. So that's what I ate. Blueberry Cheerios. Do you like Cheerios? I also ate Cheerios when I was younger. I did not like them. They were so freaking bland. Oh, what about Apple Jacks? Oh my god. These were the best. These also destroy your mouth for some reason. Yeah, but these are hella sugary. That was when I was younger and I could eat so much sugar. Cracklin Oat Bran. What is that? Cracklin Oat Bran? I've never heard of this. Oh, is it Canada? Is it only for Canadians? Oh, that's like little squares. Oh, why? A bowl of Cheerios with milk in them smells like pee. Do they? The O's are squares in Canada. Yeah. We have Cheerios in America. In Canada, they got squares. It's in the US? Oh, okay. How come I never heard of them? What? I never seen these. They're good? Are they sweet? Well, anyways. Looks like dog food. Okay, Nikki. And rude noise. You guys gotta fight. Fight it out. Okay, reminder. The next 2 weeks. So yeah, next Monday and the next Monday. So the 23rd and the 30th, no streams. Okay, no streams. I will be away. Remind me to say that at the end of the stream. Also, I need to make a post, a community post. All right. All right, ready? So, where am I going? Italy again? I can't tell you. No, I'll tell you afterwards. You will know when I get back. He's too busy for us now. No, it's not true. I love you. Not secret stuff. I'll probably tell you afterwards. You just have to wait. I'm actually just gonna get on a plane and then let it go wherever it may go, and then we'll see. Because that's just how I roll, baby. All right. What happened last week? So last week, Guo Jing and Hong Rong, they're walking along, and they see these two men talking about the old urchin, Zhou Botong, right? And they decide to follow them. They find Zhou Botong sitting across from this monk, Lu Ji, and they're apparently in a competition on who can sit still the longest. So they're just sitting there. Meanwhile, Wen Yan Honglia's henchmen, they're harassing Ku Jian'e and Hong Qigong, who were hiding in this cave. It looks like the villains had tricked Zhou Botong into doing this competition so that they can have him off to the side doing his thing while they fight Ku Jian'e and Hong Qigong. Hong Rong, she solves the standoff by tickling the tickle acupoint at the waists of Zhou Botong and monk Lu Ji. Okay? Yeah, she's like, whoever gets tickled loses. So unfortunately, Zhou Botong is the first to laugh, so he loses. But then afterwards, we discover that the monk's acupoints were sealed by the villains beforehand, so he couldn't even move if he wanted to. So they had just tricked Zhou Botong. Our heroes scare away the villains, and inside the cave, we see Ku Jian'e wearing this wearing a white headband and white clothing, and it's the outfit to mourn a death. Okay, so it seems like there has been a death or multiple deaths. Hong Qigong is also there. He's eating a chicken leg as usual. Now Kujanu, he seems super mad, right? And he tries to kill Huang Rong. Guojing instinctively he protects her, but he injures Kujanu in the process. Kujanu tells Guojing to kill Huang Yaoxi and Huang Rong. So I'm guessing that the rest of the 6 freaks of Jiangnan are dead. Maybe killed by Huang Yaoxi, or maybe Huang Yaoxi was framed or something. But it seems like they died, and Kujanu is super mad, and he thinks that Huang Yaoxi killed them. Guojing doesn't know what to do. Kujanu gets super angry. He leaves. Hong Qigong, he promises to talk to Kujanu later on and try to calm him down. So Hong Qigong, he had been staying in the imperial palace stealing food. It's heaven for him, I guess. After catching up for a little bit, he eventually leaves. Now Hong Rong tells Guojing, well, she's afraid that Guojing might one day turn on her if his masters order it. So she asks him to promise to stay on Peach Blossom Island forever. Now Guojing at first he hesitates, but seeing her so earnest, he agrees. So he agrees to stay with her on the island forever. Right? She's super happy. She does this little dance. He looks at her and he thinks, oh, she's kind of pretty. And that's where we left off. How's that? I'm gonna sit in the same seat until they kick me off. Yeah. Gonna sit on 11A. Yeah, we gotta sit on the freaking 11A seat. Where the one Indian dude survived the plane crash. All right. Boom. All right. Let me increase. Are you ready? Chapter 34. Part 1. Disaster on the island. Huang Rong was dancing swiftly when she suddenly let out a soft "eh?" and leapt down from a tree. She waved at Guojing, then dashed into the forest. Guojing, worried about getting lost, followed closely behind, not daring to fall a single step behind. Huang Rong twisted and turned through the paths for a while before suddenly stopping. She pointed at a yellowish mound on the ground ahead and asked, "What's that?" Guojing rushed forward a few steps and saw a yellow horse collapsed on the ground. Alarmed, he rushed closer and knelt down to examine it. He recognized it immediately. It was the steed of his third master, Han Baoju. Oh yeah, they're all dead, guys. He reached out and touched its belly. It was cold to the touch and had clearly been dead for quite some time. This horse had followed Han Baoju across the northern deserts for years. Guojing had grown up with it and was as familiar with it as with an old friend. Seeing it dead here, he felt a deep sadness. He thought, although this horse is getting on in years, it was still spirited and swift. How could it just drop dead like this? Third Master will be devastated. Taking a closer look, he realized the horse hadn't died lying on its side. It had collapsed with its legs folded beneath it. Guojing shuddered. He remembered how Huang Yaoshi had once killed Princess Hua Zheng's horse with a single palm, and that horse had fallen in the same position. He quickly lifted the horse's neck with his left arm and reached out with his right to feel its front legs. Sure enough, the leg bones had been shattered. He gently felt along the back. Its spine was broken as well. Man, horses don't do well in these stories. He grew increasingly alarmed. When he lifted his hand, he recoiled in shock. His palm was covered in blood. The blood had already turned black, but the stench of rot still lingered, suggesting the death had occurred 3 or 4 days ago. He quickly turned the horse's body over to inspect further, but found no visible wounds. He suddenly sat down, heart pounding. Could this be Third Master's blood? Then where is he? Hong Rong had been silently watching Guojing examine the horse. She finally said quietly, Don't panic. Let's investigate carefully and figure out what happened. She brushed aside some flowering branches and slowly walked forward, her eyes scanning the ground. Guojing spotted scattered spots of blood on the path ahead. He forgot all concern about getting lost and quickly stepped ahead of Hong Rong, following the blood trail in haste. The blood trail came and went. Guojing lost it several times, but Hong Rong was sharp and always found it again, whether on the grass or by a rock. When the blood vanished, she sometimes spotted hoof prints or shed horsehair ahead. After following the trail for several miles, they came upon a grove of short, flowering trees. Amid the trees was a solitary grave. Hong Rong rushed forward and knelt beside the grave. Guojing had seen this grave during his first visit to Peach Blossom Island. He knew it was the resting place of Hong Rong's deceased mother. The headstone had fallen to the ground, and he immediately picked it up. The inscription read, Tomb of Madame Feng, Mistress of Peach Blossom Island. Hong Rong saw the tomb entrance had been forced open and suspected a great calamity had occurred on the island, but she didn't enter right away. Instead, she examined the surrounding area and found a patch of trampled grass to the left of the grave, and marks from weapon strikes near the entrance. She stood at the tomb doorway, listening intently. After hearing no movement inside, she finally bent over and stepped in. Guojing, afraid something might happen to her, followed closely. Inside the passageway, they saw shattered stones lining the walls, a clear sign that a fierce battle had taken place. Their hearts grew heavier. After several paces, Hong Rong stooped down and picked something up. Though the tomb was dimly lit, they could make out what it was, a broken piece of a balance scale made of dark iron. It was thick as a child's arm and had been snapped clean in two. Hong Rong and Guojing exchanged a glance, neither daring to speak. They both knew that only a handful of people in the world could snap such a weapon with their bare hands, and on Peach Blossom Island, only Huang Yaoshi was capable of that. Hong Rong's hands trembled as she held the broken iron. Guojing took the piece of iron from her and tucked it into his belt. He bent down and began searching for the other half, his heart like a bucket of water being drawn up and dropped, hope and dread mixing together. He wanted to find it, yet didn't. A few more steps in, the darkness thickened. He groped around the floor, and his fingers suddenly touched something cold, soft, and clammy, like a human face. Startled, Guojing sprang to his feet, and bunk! He hit his head squarely against the tomb's ceiling. He barely felt the pain. Panicked, he fumbled for his fire striker, lit it, took one look, and cried out in despair. His vision spun, and he collapsed on the floor. But the fire striker remained in his hand, still burning. In its glow, Hong Rong saw Chen Jinfa lying dead on the ground, eyes wide open, a piece of the broken iron scale embedded in his chest. By this point, the truth was becoming painfully clear. Huang Rong steadied herself, took the fire striker from Guo Jing's hand, and held it near his nose. The smoke tickled him, and he sneezed twice before slowly regaining consciousness. He stared at her blankly, then stood up and continued deeper into the tomb. What do you think? Was it Hong Yaoshi or was it someone else? The two entered the main chamber and found it in disarray. The offering table was missing a corner, and Nan Xiren's iron staff was planted askew in the ground. In the left corner of the tomb lay a man, face down, his square cap still on his head, and one shoe missing. Judging from the back, it could only be Ju Tong. Guo Jing silently stepped closer and turned Ju Tong over. In the firelight, he saw that his second master still wore a faint smile on his lips, but his body had long gone cold. In this grim setting, that smile appeared all the more eerie and sorrowful. Guo Jing whispered, "Second master, your disciple Guo Jing has come." And he gently lifted the body. There came a soft jingling sound as countless jewels spilled from Ju Tong's robe and scattered across the floor. Huang Rong picked up a few of the gems, glanced at them, and then let them fall with a sigh. "These were from the offerings my father made at my mother's shrine," she said. Guo Jing stared at her, eyes flaring with rage as if they would shoot blood. His voice low and tense, he said, "You're saying my second master came to steal jewels? How dare you say my second master?" Under his fierce gaze, Huang Rong didn't back down. She too looked straight at him, her own eyes filled with despair and anguish. Guo Jing continued, "My second master was a man of iron integrity. How could he steal your father's treasures? He'd never desecrate your mother's tomb for them." But as he looked at Huang Rong's expression, his own voice gradually shifted from anger to grief. The evidence was right before his eyes. The gems had indeed fallen from Ju Tong's body, and he recalled that second master was famed as the master thief of gentle touch, capable of stealing anything from anyone without notice. Could it be true? Could he really have come to steal from this tomb? No, my second master was an honorable man. He would never stoop to such base acts. There must be another explanation. But his grief and fury boiled together. His temples throbbed, and everything in front of him alternated between light and shadow. His fists clenched tightly, bones cracking under pressure. Hong Rong said softly, "That day, when I saw your first master's expression, I already sensed that you and I were doomed to have no happy ending. If you want to kill me, then do it. My mother is right here. Bury me beside her. After that, leave the island quickly. Don't let my father catch you." The Ouyang framed them? Yeah, I think so. Oh, Ouyang Ke did have the plans to the island. Oh, yeah. Guo Jing didn't answer. He simply paced back and forth in long strides, breathing heavily. Hong Rong turned to look at the portrait of her late mother on the wall and suddenly noticed something strange. He stepped closer. 2 poisoned darts had been embedded in the painting. She gently pulled them out and handed them to Guo Jing. They were Du Ling, the toxic darts used by Ku Jian'e. She pulled aside the curtain behind the altar and revealed her mother's jade coffin. As she approached it, she suddenly cried out. Behind the coffin lay the lifeless bodies of Han Baozhu and Han Xiaoying. Han Xiaoying had committed suicide, her sword still clutched in her hand. Han Baozhu was sprawled over the coffin, 5 distinct finger holes visible in the center of his forehead. Guojing stepped forward and gently cradled Hanbao Ju's body. He muttered to himself, I saw Mei Chaofeng die with my own eyes. Aside from Huang Yaoxi, who else could use the 9-yin skeleton claw? Yang Kang could. He laid Hanbao Ju's body down with care, then straightened Han Xiaoying's. Without a word, he turned and walked out. When he passed Huang Rong, his gaze was blank, as if he didn't even see her. A chill swept through Huang Rong's heart. She stood in place, stunned for a long moment. Suddenly, darkness fell. The fire striker had burned out. Though she knew this tomb well, the presence of 4 corpses made the pitch-black room feel terrifying. She bolted toward the exit. Her foot caught on something, and she nearly fell. Once outside, she realized it had been Chen Jinfa's body. Is that 6 bells? I guess that's 6 bells. Let's see. See what else they find. Seeing the gravestone leaning to one side, she reached out and set it straight. Ku Chanu is not dead. So he's still running around. He wants revenge. She reached out and set it straight. She was about to activate the mechanism to close the tomb door when a thought struck her. If Father really killed the 4 from the south, how could he have left the tomb door open? He loved Mother deeply. Even in haste, he wouldn't have left it open like this. Doubts flooded her mind. And why would he allow their corpses to remain in the tomb beside my mother? That's absolutely unthinkable. Could it be that Father has met with misfortune too? Nah. She pressed the stone to the right 3 times, then to the left 3 times, sealing the tomb, and rushed toward the residence. Though Guojing had left before her, he had lost his way after only a few dozen steps, turning this way and that in the maze-like paths. When he saw Huang Rong come running, he quickly followed behind. They crossed through the bamboo grove over the lotus pond, arriving in front of Huang Yaoxi's body. Wait, study. Study, not body. What met their eyes was shocking. The structure had been battered into ruin, broken beams and shattered pillars scattered everywhere. Father! Father! Huang Rong cried, rushing inside. The room was a mess of overturned furniture, inkstones, and scrolls. Calligraphy scrolls on the walls had been torn apart, but of Huang Yaoxi there was no sign. Okay, he's not there. All right, do we need 6 bells? 5 for the freaks, and 1 for the horse. It's 1. It's 2. Three. It's 4. It's 5. All right. Poor freaks. They did. So who did it? Sup, Psyduck? You joined at the wrong time. We just found out that the rest of the 6 freaks had died. So only Kujana is alive at the moment. And it seems like from the crime scene, it seems like they were fighting Huang Yaoxi. But it could be that he was framed. Huang Rong leaned on an overturned desk, her body swaying as if she might faint. After a long moment, she steadied herself and dashed to check the servants' quarters. She found not a single person. The kitchen hearth was cold and ashen. Even if they weren't dead, everyone must have fled long ago. It seemed she and Guo Jing were the only 2 people left on the island. She slowly returned to the study and saw Guo Jing standing stiffly in the center of the room, eyes glazed and expression wooden. Huang Rong said, her voice trembling, "Jing cry. Please, cry first." She knew that he was closer to his 6 masters than a son to his father. The pain in his heart must have reached its peak, and with his internal strength at such a high level, suppressing such immense grief could cause him serious internal injury. But Guo Jing seemed deaf and blind to the world, just staring at her in a daze. Huang Rong wanted to urge him again, but her own strength had finally run out. She could only cry out once, "Jing and then could speak no more. The 2 stood silently for a long time. Finally, Guo Jing murmured, "I won't kill Rong-er. I won't kill Rong-er." Huang Rong felt another sharp ache in her heart and said gently, "Your master has died. You should have a good cry." Guo Jing mumbled, "I won't cry. I won't cry." After these few words, silence fell between them again. In the distance, the sound of waves crashing faintly reached their ears. In that moment, 1,000 memories flashed through Huang Rong's mind. Everything she had experienced on this island since childhood, all the way to her 15th year. The images rushed through her head, then faded just as quickly. Guo Jing spoke again, as if to himself. "I must bury my master first, right? I have to bury him first, right?" Huang Rong replied, "Yes, let's bury your master first." She led the way back to her mother's tomb, and Guo Jing followed silently. Just as Huang Rong reached out to open the tombstone, Guo Jing suddenly dashed forward and kicked at the base of the stone with all his might. The gravestone, made of the hardest granite, only shifted askew without cracking. But Guo Jing's foot burst open with blood from the impact. Oof. Ouch. Yet he showed no sign of pain. He struck at the stone repeatedly with both palms, then drew out the broken iron steelyard of Chen Jinfa and began smashing it wildly against the tombstone. Sparks flew, chips of stone scattered. Suddenly, with a loud crack, the iron rod broke again. Guo Jing placed both palms on the stone and shoved with all his strength. The stone split in 2, revealing an iron lever within. He seized the iron and pulled. The lever didn't break, but with a sharp ka-cha, the tomb door slowly creaked open. Guo Jing froze. Who else could know this mechanism but Huang Yaoxi? Who could have lured my masters into this cursed tomb? If it wasn't him, then who? He let out a furious howl at the sky and dove into the tomb. Ah! The shattered gravestone was covered in bloody palm prints. Seeing the depth of Guo Jing's rage, even against her mother's tomb, Huang Rong felt her resolve settle. If he dares vent his anger on my mother's coffin, I'll throw myself against it first and die right there. Just as she was about to enter the tomb, Guo Jing emerged, carrying Chen Jinfa's corpse in his arms. He laid it down gently, then went back inside to bring out Ju Tong, Han Baoju, and Han Xiaoying, carrying each one out with reverent care. Hong Rong stole a glance at his face. His expression was filled with devotion and grief. Her heart sank. He loves his masters more than he could ever love me. I have to find father. I must find father. You bet all the baddies set it up because they want Guo Jing to kill Huang Yaoshi for them? Yeah, could be. Guo Jing carried the 4 bodies deep into a grove, several hundred steps from the tomb, and began to dig. At first, he used Han Xiaoying's longsword, but as he dug more frantically, the blade snapped off with a crack. Suddenly, a hot surge of blood rushed up from his chest, and he spat out 2 mouthfuls of it. Without pausing, he dropped to his knees and began clawing at the earth with his bare hands, flinging dirt aside like a madman. Huang Rong went to the garden where the mute servants once tended flowers, and returned with 2 spades. She tossed one to Guo Jing and kept one for herself to help dig. Guo Jing didn't say a word. He grabbed her spade and broke it over his knee, tossing it aside before picking up the other to continue digging alone. At this point, Huang Rong didn't cry. She just sat and watched in silence. Guo Jing dug with every ounce of strength in his body. Within the span of a single meal, he had finished 2 graves, one smaller, one larger. He placed Han Xiaoying's body in the smaller pit, knelt to kowtow several times, and stared at her face for a long while before finally covering her with earth. Then he went to retrieve Ju Tong's corpse. As he was about to lower the body into the pit, a thought occurred to him. These filthy jewels from Huang Yaoshi, how could I let them follow second master into the grave? He reached into Ju Tong's robes and began pulling out gem after gem, tossing them aside without even looking at them. At the bottom of the pouch, he found a folded sheet of white paper. He unfolded it, and his heart skipped a beat. On the paper was written, To the esteemed master of Peach Blossom Island, from Kuzhen Ju Tong, Han Baoju, Nan Xiren, Chen Jinfa, and Han Xiaoying of the south. We have heard troubling rumors that the Chenjin Six have believed false reports and may act rashly toward Peach Blossom Island. Though we are of little standing and have no power to resolve the matter, we write this letter to urge for calm. You, Master Huang, are a man whose skill rivals that of Huang Chongyang himself. Would it befit a person of your stature to stoop and bicker with younger generations? In ancient times, Lin Xiangru gave way to Lian Po, and that story has lived on for centuries. A true hero's heart is as vast as the ocean. He does not deign to quarrel over trifles. One day, the disciples of Chen Zhen will come to you in humility, and when the world sees your magnanimity, who would not admire it? Guo Jing trembled as he held the letter, recognizing Ju Tong's handwriting. So this is what happened. The Chenjin disciples fought with Huang Yaoshi at Ox Village. Ouyang Feng used trickery and killed Tian Chu Duan, but framed Huang Yaoshi for the murder. That proud old eccentric wouldn't bother to explain himself, so Chen Jin took him as their sworn enemy. My 6 masters must have found out and tried to prevent the fight by writing this letter, hoping to avoid needless bloodshed. They had only good intentions, and yet Huang Yaoshi killed them anyway. He fumed with grief and rage. If second master wrote this, why didn't he send it? Then he realized, they must have learned that Chen Jin was arriving sooner than expected, and rushed here themselves to mediate. They didn't have time to deliver the letter, and that madman Huang Yaoshi must have thought they came to help Chen Jin, and slaughtered them without even asking. As he brooded, He folded the letter to tuck it away, but noticed more writing on the back. He flipped it over, and his heart leapt. Scrawled hastily in slanted script was, "Something's wrong. Everyone, be wary of..." The final character was left unfinished, but Guojing saw the 3 beginning strokes. It was clearly the character for East. I'm assuming that he's not trying to write East. Guojing shouted, "It's clearly East! Second Master was warning everyone to beware of the Eastern heretic, but they were too late." He crushed the letter in his hand, teeth gritted. "Second Master, you had nothing but goodwill, and Huang Yaoshi twisted it into malice." He let the paper fall and bent down again to lift Ju Tong's body. As Guojing stared at the letter, his expression flickered between grief and confusion. Huang Rong knew there must be something crucial written on it. When he let the crumpled paper fall to the ground, she quietly stepped forward, picked it up, and unfolded it. She read both sides carefully and thought, "His 6 masters came to Peach Blossom Island with good intentions, but alas, this so-called master thief scholar had virtue that didn't last. He spent his life stealing, and when he saw the treasures buried with my mother, he couldn't resist temptation. In the end, he violated my father's secret taboo." She was full of sorrow and resentment. Just then, Guojing stepped forward and uncurled Ju Tong's left fist, revealing a small item. He held it in his palm, and Huang Rong looked closer. It was a tiny lady's shoe, carved from translucent green jade. Only about an inch long, it was delicate and exquisite, sculpted with such realism that it seemed almost wearable. A rare treasure indeed, but she had never seen it in her mother's tomb, and had no idea where Ju Tong had obtained it. Guojing turned it over and examined it. On the sole was carved the character Zhao, and inside was the character Bi. Besides that, nothing else. Disgusted with these treasures, he let out a long sigh and flung it to the ground. He stood in a daze for a moment, then slowly lifted the bodies of Ju Tong, Han Baozhu, and Chen Jinfa into the larger grave. He was about to begin burying them when, looking at the faces of his 3 masters, he couldn't bring himself to do it. "Second Master, Third Master, 6th Master, you're gone," he murmured, the words soft but spoken with the same reverence he always had when speaking to his elders. After a long pause, his gaze fell on the pile of jewels beside the pit. A surge of anger rose within him, and he grabbed the whole heap, striding furiously toward the tomb. Fearing he might damage her mother's coffin, Hong Rong rushed ahead, blocking the entrance with open arms, and said firmly, "What are you trying to do?" Guojing didn't reply. He gently moved her aside with his left arm, then flung the treasures forcefully into the tomb. The clatter of jade and gold falling echoed for a long while. Huang Rong noticed the little jade shoe at her feet. She picked it up and said, "This isn't my mother's." She tried handing it back to him, but Guojing only stared blankly and ignored her. She tucked it into her robe, watching as he returned to the pit and began burying his masters. They toiled through the afternoon, and by dusk, Hong Rong saw that Guojing still hadn't shed a single tear. Her worry deepened. "Maybe if I leave him alone for a while, he'll cry and let it all out," she thought. She returned to the house and cooked a simple meal of salted fish and cured ham, putting it into a basket. When she returned to the gravesite, Guojing was still standing there. It had taken her nearly half an hour to prepare the meal, yet he hadn't moved a muscle. Even his posture was the same. His silhouette stood rigid in the darkness, like a statue. Hongrong grew anxious and called softly, Jingugu, what's wrong? He didn't respond. She tried again. Eat something. You haven't eaten all day. I'd rather starve than eat anything from Peach Blossom Island, he said. Hearing him speak gave her a bit of relief. She knew how stubborn he was. After the heartbreak he'd endured, he was dead set on refusing food from the island. She gently set down the basket and slowly sat beside it. One stood, one sat. Time passed quietly. The half-moon rose over the ocean and drifted above their heads. The food had long gone cold, just like their hearts. In this mournful wind and under this cold moon, the soft crash of waves in the distance was suddenly broken by an eerie sound, a strange wail carried on the wind. It was sharp and chilling, like the cry of a wolf or a tiger, but also distinctly human. What's up, Malik? How's it going? It is a Sunday live. There's no live tomorrow or next Monday. The sound faded with the next gust of wind. Hongrong tilted her head to listen. The cries were laced with agony, full of torment. Was it a person? An animal? She couldn't tell, but she determined the direction and set off. She thought to call Guojing to come with her, but then paused. If this turns out to be something terrible, seeing it will only add to his sorrow. Though fear gripped her, she pressed on. After all, she knew every inch of this island. All right. Good time for a break, I think. They all died. Do we need more bells? You think there's more deaths? How can there be? All right. We shall see. Let's take a 5-minute break. I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Let's hope we don't need more bells. She had barely taken 10 steps when she suddenly felt the wind whip past her. Guojing had shot ahead, but he didn't know the way and quickly lost his sense of direction. In his distress, he struck trees in his path, chopping and kicking like a madman. Hongrong called out, "Follow me!" But Guojing was already shouting, "Fourth Master! Fourth Master!" He had recognized the voice in that eerie wailing. It was his fourth master, Nanshiren. Oh. Did we do too many bells? Hongrong's heart sank again. If his fourth master sees me, he'll surely try to kill me, she thought. But at this point, she no longer cared. Even if disaster lay ahead, she wouldn't run from it. She led the way east into the trees, and there, beneath a peach tree, a figure was writhing and twisting on the ground. Guojing let out a cry and rushed forward to scoop the man into his arms. It was Nanshiren, smiling faintly, but letting out hoarse, broken groans. Guojing was overwhelmed with shock and joy. Suddenly he broke into sobs, clutching him tightly, crying, "Fourth Master! Fourth Master!" Nanshiren said nothing. Instead, he suddenly raised a hand and struck Guojing with a backhand slap. Caught completely off guard, Guojing instinctively ducked. Nanshiren missed, but followed with a punch from the left. Guojing, thinking his master was punishing him, actually welcomed it and let it land. But the force of the blow shocked him. It knocked him over with a thud. He had sparred with Nanchuren countless times since childhood and knew his strength well, but this strike had a power far beyond what he remembered. As Guojing scrambled to his feet, Nanchuren attacked again with another punch. This time, the strength was even greater. Stars exploded before Guojing's eyes, and he nearly fainted. Then Nanchuren picked up a large rock and hurled it straight at Guojing's head. Guojing still didn't dodge. The heavy rock came crashing down, sure to shatter his skull. Seeing the danger, Hongrong leapt forward and pushed at Nanchuren's arm. Nanchuren tumbled to the ground, rock and all, groaning hoarsely, unable to get up. Guojing shouted angrily, "Why did you push my fourth master?" Hongrong had only meant to save him. She hadn't expected Nanchuren to be so weak, collapsing from just one push. She rushed to help him up, but in the moonlight, she saw his face still fixed in a smiling expression, though it seemed forced, unnaturally grim. Startled, she gasped and reached out, then hesitated, not daring to touch him. Suddenly, Nanchuren lashed out with a backhanded punch, striking her on the left shoulder. Both of them cried out at once. Though Hongrong was wearing her soft hedgehog armor, the blow still hurt, knocking her back a few steps. Nanchuren's fist, however, was gashed and bleeding from the armor's spikes. Their cries were mixed with Guojing's frantic calls of, "Fourth master! Fourth master!" Nanchuren glanced at Guojing as if finally recognizing him. He opened his mouth to speak. The muscles on his face twitched, straining with all their might, but no words came out. That smile remained frozen, but his eyes brimmed with hopeless despair. "Fourth master, rest for now. Whatever you want to say it slowly," Guojing pleaded. Nanchuren tilted his head back, struggling to speak, but his lips refused to open. After a few moments of tension, his head drooped, and he collapsed backward. "Fourth master!" Guojing cried, rushing forward to catch him, but Hongrong said calmly, "He's writing something." Guojing looked down and saw Nanchuren's right index finger slowly tracing characters in the dirt. Under the moonlight, one word at a time became clear. "The one who killed me is..." Why is he writing so many characters? Shorten it up. You're about to die. Hongrong's heart pounded. "He's on Peach Blossom Island. Even the dullest person would assume my father killed him. But if, in his final breath, he's trying so hard to write the killer's name, could it be someone else?" Could have just written the name. I know! She stared intently at his trembling finger. As it moved, its strength faded. She prayed desperately. If it's someone else, please, let him write it out." The fifth character began. It was a short, horizontal stroke, followed by a vertical one, forming the small character 10. His finger quivered, then went still. Guojing, still kneeling with his master in his arms, felt the body convulse once, then grow still, no longer breathing. He stared at the tiny character and cried out, "Fourth master, I know you meant to write the word Huang. You meant to write Huang." He buried his face into Nanchuren's chest and burst into wild, heartbroken sobs. Only now did he finally release the storm of grief that had built up inside him all day. He sobbed until he fainted upon his master's body. Okay, so whose name has that character? Who else is there? Is it Oh Young Feng? Is it Young Kung? It's unclear how much time passed, but eventually, Guojing slowly regained consciousness. The sunlight pierced his eyes, dawn had broken. He sat up and looked around. Huangrong was nowhere in sight. Nanqiren's body still lay there, eyes open. He died with his eyes open, Guojing thought with a shudder. He gently closed his master's eyelids. Remembering Nanqiren's strange final moments, he examined the body for injuries. Apart from the cuts on his hand from punching Huangrong, there were no other wounds, no signs of internal damage, no signs of poisoning. He just had to stop before finishing the first character of their name. Yeah. He's like, the one who killed me is a powerful man with powerful martial arts, and he fought us and killed us all. Yeah, that's what he's doing. Guojing cradled his master's body. He had wanted to bury him alongside the others, but the forest paths were too twisted. After walking a short way, he couldn't retrace his steps. He returned to the peach tree and dug a grave right there to lay him to rest. Hunger gnawed at him. He hadn't eaten in a day. He thought to find his way to the beach and take a boat back to the mainland. But the more he walked, the more disoriented he became. After resting briefly, he decided to pick a direction and go straight toward the sun in the east. Soon he came upon an impassable thicket, trees tangled with brambles and hooked vines. Every branch was like a trap. No way out but forward, he thought, and leapt into the trees. Benjamin, in this essay I will cover who killed me, which was, yeah, that's what he's doing. He took one step and heard a tearing sound. His pant leg was caught and ripped, his shin scratched and bleeding. Another few steps and the vines snared his left leg. Drawing his dagger, he hacked him away and looked ahead. The forest was endless, a wall of clawing thorns. Even if I lose all the flesh off my legs, I'll break free of this cursed island, he shouted. He was about to leap again when a voice called up from below. Come down, I'll lead you out. Looking down, he saw Huangrong standing beneath a row of thorned trees. Without replying, he dropped to the ground. One look at her bloodless face startled him. One look at her pale, bloodless face startled him. He wanted to ask if her old injury had flared up, but held his tongue. Huangrong noticed his hesitation. His lips trembled as if to speak, but he turned his head away. She waited for a moment, then sighed softly. Let's go, she said. They walked eastward, twisting and turning through the underbrush. Her injury still unhealed, her spirit already shattered by the night's events. Huangrong's mind churned. I can't blame Jinguge. I can't blame Father. I probably can't even blame the 6 freaks. But why is heaven punishing me like this? Is it because I was too happy before? She led Guojing toward the beach. She knew this was goodbye. He would never return. With every step, her heart broke a little more. When they finally passed through the last tangle of thorns, the sea appeared before them. She could go no farther. Her legs buckled beneath her. She reached out with her bamboo staff to steady herself, but her arms too had no strength. The staff slipped, and she collapsed to the ground. As Guojing swiftly reached out with his right hand to catch her, the memory of his master's tragic death suddenly flashed through his mind. With lightning speed, his left hand lashed out and struck his own right wrist. Smack! It was a reflex from the ambidextrous martial arts technique taught by Zhou Bo Tong. His hands are fighting each other. His right hand struck, instinctively countered with a palm technique, and Guo Jing immediately leapt backward. Hong Rong collapsed to the ground. Seeing her fall, a wave of regret, tenderness, and grief surged into Guo Jing's chest. Even if his heart were made of iron, he couldn't help but stoop down and gently lift her up. Looking around for a place to lay her down, he spotted something fluttering in the wind among the rocks to the northeast. Hong Rong opened her eyes and followed his gaze. Seeing the fluttering blue cloth, she cried out, "Father!" Oh. Guo Jing set her down, and the two of them ran over hand in hand. There, embedded in the rocks, was a long blue robe and a discarded human skin mask, the very garments of Huang Yaoxi. Shocked and confused, Hong Rong picked them up. On the robe's chest was a blood-red palm print, every line and ridge of the fingers clearly visible. It was chilling to look at. Guo Jing was struck by a sudden realization. This must be the robe Huang Yaoxi used to wipe his hand after killing my third master with the 9-yin white bone claw. His hand still held Huang Rong's, but rage and sorrow surged within. He violently flung her hand aside, snatched the robe, and tore it in two with a loud rip. He noticed a corner of the robe had already been ripped away, shaped just like the strip of cloth tied to the eagle's leg. The palm print seemed almost alive under the sunlight, as if ready to leap out and strike him across the face. Guo Jing trembled, his sorrow boiling into fury. He rolled up the hem of his own robe, stuffed it into his chest, and waded into a nearby sailboat. The mute sailors who had crewed it were nowhere to be seen. Without glancing back at Huang Rong, he drew his dagger, cut the mooring rope, lifted the anchor, and hoisted the sails. Hong Rong stood dazed at the shore, staring at the sea until the sail disappeared, where sky met ocean. Suddenly, she was struck by the full weight of solitude. She was utterly alone on the island. Jingge was gone. Her father, whether alive or dead, was nowhere to be found, and life stretched endlessly ahead. Will I stand here forever? Will this be the rest of my life? Runger, don't you dare think of dying. He left, guys. He left. Guo Jing sailed westward from Peach Blossom Island. After about 10 miles, he heard an urgent cry from the sky. 2 eagles had flown after him and now perched atop the mast. He thought, the eagles have followed me, leaving Runger even more alone on the island. Pity stirred in his heart, and he couldn't help steering the boat around to fetch her. But as he turned back, a thought cut through his mind. Master ordered me to bring him the heads of Huang Yaoxi and Rong He and my other masters came to Peach Blossom Island, and Huang Yaoxi slaughtered them mercilessly. Though my master was blind, he must have heard everything clearly. Somehow he escaped death. He raised his iron staff to kill Runger and told me to do it too. Was he wrong? No, he wasn't. I cannot kill Runger. She didn't kill my masters, but how can I still stay with her? His heart hardened once more. I must kill Huang Yaoxi and take his head to master. If I can't defeat him, then let him kill me instead. He turned the rudder again and sailed westward. On the 3rd day, Guo Jing reached the shore. Hating everything from Peach Blossom Island, he smashed the boat's hull with the iron anchor, creating a massive hole before leaping ashore. He stood and watched the sailboat slowly tilt and sink beneath the waves, feeling oddly empty. He found a farmhouse, bought some rice, and cooked a meal. After asking for directions, he set off for Jiaxing. That night, he lodged beside the Qiantang River. The bright moonlight reflected in the water, and its round fullness reminded him. It was nearly the mid-autumn festival. He panicked, fearing he'd missed the duel at the pavilion of Drunken Mist. He asked the innkeeper, and learned it was already the 13th day of the 8th lunar month. At once he crossed the river under the moonlight, bought a strong horse, and spurred it toward Jiaxing. Since childhood, Guojing had heard his 6 masters talk about their contests with Chu Chu Chi, drinking from bronze vats at Drunken Immortal Tavern, exchanging skills and banter. These stories had stayed with him for over a decade, and now, standing at the tavern by South Lake, he finally saw it for himself. With ornate eaves and elegant carvings, it was just as Han Xiaoying had described. Inside, a large wooden plaque read, "Legacy of Li Bai," while above, the 3 golden characters for Drunken Immortal Tavern, inscribed by Su Dongpo, gleamed brightly. His heart pounded. He rushed up the stairs. A waiter stopped him. "Sir, please dine downstairs. The upper floor is reserved today." Before Guojing could reply, a familiar voice called out, "Ting you're here." He looked up to see a Taoist priest seated and sipping wine, long beard hanging to his chest, face aglow with vitality. It was none other than Chang Chunqi Chu Chu Chi. Guojing rushed forward and fell to his knees. He could only choke out one word. "Tao Chang Chu." His voice was already breaking with emotion. Chu Chu Chi reached out to lift him up. "You arrived a day early. Excellent. I came early too. I wanted to exchange a few drinks with your 6 masters before tomorrow's duel with Peng Lianhu and Xia Tongtian. Have they all arrived? I've already arranged a banquet for them." Guojing looked around the second floor. There were 9 tables. Aside from Chu Chu Chi's table, which was fully set with cups and chopsticks, each of the other 8 tables had only 1 cup and 1 pair of chopsticks. Chu Chu Chi continued, 18 years ago, when I first met your 7 masters here, this was how their formation was arranged. That vegetarian table is for Master Jiao Mu, though, sadly, he and your 5th master won't be reuniting here today. His tone turned somber. Guojing turned his face away, unable to meet his gaze. Unaware, Chu Chu Chi went on. I even went to Fa Hua Temple today to borrow that old copper vat we used for our wine contest back then. When your 6 masters arrive, we'll enjoy another round together. Guojing turned and saw the large bronze vat placed beside a screen. Its surface was covered in green patina, but the inside had been scrubbed clean and was filled with fine wine. The rich aroma floated through the room. He stared at the vat for a long while, then looked again at the 8 empty tables. Only First Master will come to this banquet. If I could just see the 7 of them sitting here, laughing and drinking together again. Even if I died on the spot, it would be worth it. Chu Chu Ji said, Back then, we arranged for you and Yang Kang to duel here on the 24th of the 3rd month. I always admired your 7 masters' noble spirit, and I hoped from the start you'd win, so their name would be known far and wide. But I was off traveling, slaying traitors and scoundrels, and I didn't put much effort into Yang Kang's training. That was one thing. Worse, I failed to guide him to be an honest, upright man. I truly failed your Uncle Yang. Though he's since vowed to change his ways, I fear the evil runs deep. I deeply regret it. Guojing wanted to recount Yang Kang's many misdeeds, but it was too long a tale to start here. Chu Chu Ji added, In this world, literary and martial talents are secondary. What matters most are the words loyalty and righteousness. Even if Yang Kang's martial arts were 100 times stronger than yours in terms of character, your masters would still win the duel at Drunken Immortal Tavern. Ha! This Chu Chu Chi admits total defeat. He laughed heartily, and suddenly noticed Guo Jing was weeping silently. He didn't see his sad face the entire time. He frowned. Eh? Why are you so sorrowful? Guo Jing stepped forward and collapsed to his knees, crying, My 5 masters have all passed away. Chu Chu Chi was thunderstruck. What? Guo Jing sobbed. Except for first master, the other 5 are gone. The words hit Chu Chu Chi like a thunderclap. For a long time he stood speechless. He had expected a joyous reunion with old comrades, and now this sudden calamity. Though their encounters over the years had been brief, he and the 7 freaks of Jiangnan had shared a bond of mutual trust. The grief pierced his heart. He strode to the railing and looked out at the vast lake. Tilting his head back, he let out a long, anguished howl. Ah! One by one, the faces of the 7 freaks passed through his mind. He turned, seized the bronze vat, and shouted, Our friends are gone! What do we need this wretched thing for? With all his might, he heaved it over the railing. Splash! A massive plume of water shot skyward as the vat sank into the lake. Chu Chu Chi grabbed Guo Jing's arm. How did they die? Tell me! Guo Jing was just about to reply when, from the corner of his eye, he saw someone silently stepped onto the upper floor. The man's robe fluttered in the breeze, his bearing refined. It was the master of Peach Blossom Island, Huang Yaoxi. What the? Guo Jing blinked, thinking his eyes had deceived him. But no, it was him. Huang Yaoxi was also startled to see Guo Jing there. Just then, a sudden gust. Guo Jing launched a full-powered... Oh, shit. Yeah. No talking here, just fighting. Guo Jing launched a full-powered Regret of the Soaring Dragon palm strike across the table. He had poured every ounce of strength into the blow, and its ferocity was terrifying. Huang Yaoxi turned slightly, and with a gentle push of his left hand, redirected the force aside. Crash! Guo Jing couldn't stop himself, and his momentum carried him straight through the wooden railing, plunging from the upper floor. He landed with a smash atop a rack of dishes. Oh, kind of got his ass kicked. Plates, bowls, cups, ceramic shards flew in every direction. No one knew how many were broken. Earlier that afternoon, the tavern's nervous innkeeper had been on edge, especially after Chu Chu Chi requested the same setup as 18 years prior and brought a huge copper vat upstairs. When the crash erupted above and below, he cried out, Merciful Goddess Guan Yin! Jade Emperor City, God help us! Guo Jing didn't dare press his palms on the shards to stand, fearing cuts. Instead, he pushed up with his back and leapt to his feet. At once, he charged back up the stairs, but before he arrived, he saw a gray shadow flash past, then a blur of green. Chu Chu Chi and Huang Yaoxi had both leapt from the window. That old thief's martial arts are above mine. I can't hurt him barehanded, Guo Jing thought. He drew 2 weapons, the short sword gifted by Chu Chu Chi, clenched in his teeth, the golden saber from Genghis Khan in his right hand. Even if I take a beating, I'll put 3 bloody holes in him. He rushed to the window and dove. The bustling street was full of onlookers. Seeing someone leap down with flashing weapons, the crowd screamed, shoving and stumbling. Several people fell. Guo Jing looked around but couldn't see Huang or Chu. He sheathed the sword in his mouth and asked a nearby old man, Where did the two men who jumped down go? The old man was terrified. Spare me, hero! I had nothing to do with it. Guojing pressed him several more times, but the man just screamed for help. Guojing brushed him aside and shoved through the crowd, but Huang and Chu were gone. He ran back up the tavern, scanning the area, then spotted them in the lake. A small skiff was ferrying the two men toward the misty pavilion on the lake's islet. Huang Yaoxi sat calmly in the cabin, while Qiu Chuji rowed at the stern. Huh? Seeing this scene, Guojing froze for a moment and thought, they must be heading to the Tower of Mist and Rain for a fight to the death. Daojiang Qiu may be valiant, but how can he possibly match that old scoundrel? He rushed down the stairs, seized a small boat, and began paddling after them. Faced with his great enemy ahead, he could no longer stay calm. But travel by water is not something that can be rushed. In his urgency, he applied too much force. Crack! The oar snapped clean in half. Furious, he grabbed a plank from the boat and used it to paddle. But his impatience only made things worse, and the boat fell farther and farther behind the one carrying Chu and Huang. At last, he managed to bring the boat ashore, but the two men were already out of sight. Guojing muttered to himself, I need to calm down. I can't let rage take my life before I've avenged my masters. He took 3 breaths to steady himself, then listened carefully, and sure enough, from behind the tower came the faint sounds of weapons slicing the wind, mixed with battle cries. Clearly, it wasn't just Chu and Huang. He examined the surroundings and crept into the Tower of Mist and Rain. The lower level was empty, so he quickly made his way upstairs, where he saw someone leaning on the window ledge, chewing noisily on something. It was Hong Qigong. Master! Guojing called out, rushing over. Hong Qigong nodded and pointed out the window while taking a bite of roasted lamb leg. Guojing hurried to the window and looked out. In the clearing behind the tower, a ring of 8 or 9 figures surrounded Huang Yaoxi. Seeing that Huang was outnumbered, Guojing felt slightly relieved, but once he saw who the combatants were, he froze in shock. There stood his first master, Ku Zhan'e, wielding his iron staff back to back with a young Taoist. What? First master is here too? A closer look revealed the Taoist was Yin Jiping, Qiu Chuji's disciple, holding a long sword and guarding Ku Zhan'e's back, not attacking Huang. Surrounding them were 6 more Taoists, the Qianzhen 6. Guojing watched for a moment and realized they had formed the Big Dipper formation, though since Tan Chuduan had died, the Tianxuan position was being filled by Ku Zhan'e. Presumably, due to his weaker martial arts and unfamiliarity with the formation, Yin Jiping was supporting him and offering guidance. The Qianzhen 6 each wielded long swords, moving in a tight formation, advancing and retreating together, pressing Huang Yaoxi hard. Alright, I think that's a good time to stop for today. I guess we're meeting back in 2 weeks, guys. To find out what's happening. Okay. So they're fighting together. Who do you think will win? I'm guessing Huang Yaoxi will win. They just can't beat him. There's going to be so much exposition needed to clear this up. Yeah. People just need to sit down and have a drink and have a conversation, you know? All right, guys. I hope you liked it. What do you guys think of this chapter? No stream tomorrow, nor the next week. So the next stream would be July 7th. on Monday. Yeah. Everyone should know that it's Oh Young Feng, right? I mean, Oh Young Feng and Yang Kang is also involved. Have a nice trip. Thanks. I think I will. Can't wait to see what happens with this fight. Should be good. Yeah, everyone should know is Oh Young Feng, right? I mean, he's pretty obviously the bad guy. All these smart martial artists, they didn't think of that. All right, guys. Yeah, no drink today. But you know, good chapter. Thanks for joining. I love you. I'll see you next time. All right, bye.